A new Hytale blog post has arrived, the Winter Development Update, which reveals new prototype mechanics for character movement, a reshaping of the world's in-game layout, and gives us some extra details about the combat footage we saw last month. Welcome back to Kweebec Corner. My name is Connor, and it looks like a seasonal batch of fresh Hytale info is ready to be analysed, so let's jump right into it. The team began by explaining that the Riot X Arcane presentation was aimed at reaching new players, which is why the piece also had a lot of story about the development of the game. They want us as a community to see this as a sort of new beginning, reintroducing us to the world that has essentially now had years of development work and changed in many ways. The team wants Hytale to have an incredibly long lifespan after all, and so have been working tirelessly conducting investigations into all aspects of design and tech to make sure that the game can stand the test of time and support a huge community across multiple platforms. They discuss how some may fear or speculate that developing for mobile and console may include drawbacks or simplifications to the PC version that we've been waiting for, but that is simply not the case. They say that the benefits of removing those barriers of play definitely outweigh the minor differences that the versions may have on release. Despite this though, they will aim to have all of the versions as close as possible in parity, without simplifying the PC version. We then get an image of a player standing within some tall grass in Zone 1, surrounded by fireflies as we transition into the meat of the post. Here we're told a bit more about the prototype mechanics the team recently showcased, such as this ability which they've chosen to call mantling. The team mentioned they snuck the preview in, hoping that few would catch it. But if you watched my last video, you'll know it took center stage in our minds and pretty much everyone else in the communities too. And this is just one of several new movement techniques they're testing right now, where your character grabs a ledge you otherwise couldn't jump to and pulls themselves up. And to be honest, with a vast terrain planned, traversing this world may become quite tedious with single jumps, block after block after block, so having 2 or even 3 block tall jumps could provide a smoother explorative experience. While we get to see a 3 block mantle in this video, further down the team confirmed that from a standing point it is possible to jump and mantle onto ledges 4 blocks high, with these extended jumps even allowing you to clear longer gaps and obstacles as well, which will no doubt make parkour maps more dynamic and complex. Watching this, I have a feeling that we may even be able to change our jump height or hold down spacebar in order to increase it. For example, tapping once may just cause you to jump 1 block, whereas holding it down could cause you to jump 2. And of course, as we read this, we do get another image of our familiar friends mantling on ledges in that new hot springs biome. Beyond this, we're told of a step-up animation for 1 block high inclines, meaning that the team's goal really is to smooth out the traversal of the game. They don't want you to have to feel every single block you move over, especially when you're trying to focus on enjoying the surroundings. Having a sort of auto step feature like this has proved useful in other games too, but if you're not a fan of this, I will bet it's also toggleable in the options menu. The team have of course practiced and playtested all these features themselves, making parkour trials and races, where by popular demand, devs even opted to add the ability to butt slide. This is caused when you start sprinting and crouch at the same time, and would likely be used to get under low obstacles while maintaining a fluid movement. As I've said, we've seen this work really well in other games, and whenever it's a feature, I always end up sliding around whenever I possibly can. Combine this with mantling or even the combat abilities that we've seen before, and you can start to really visualize how cool and fluid playing this game could be. Now we move over to terrain and biomes because we've got some new land details. They really do mean they're experimenting with everything all the time in order to get it right. Even with World Gen, they've gone back to the luscious earthly pastures of Zone 1 and added these tall rocky spires that we see on display in a couple of images here. It's great to see that they're always looking to go back and add details to this already in-depth world. We also can't forget this shot of some deer grazing in a grove, just a simple one, but still great nonetheless. We also see some marshy wetlands on display in the next image, with 2 fence stalkers on the prowl here and here. We get this as the team acknowledge that they know we as a community enjoy speculating on and trying to piece together the possible world map of Orbis, and this of course is based on a mixture of years worth of information and shots of different biomes. So they wanted to give us a heads up that the changes they'll be making will shake up some of that stuff, but in a good way. So while most of our theories will still stand, some of the evidence may twist and change a little. It'll be quite nice to revisit those theories once we get more details of how the land will form and how the different zones will arrange around each other. Now onto that all-important combat. The team does a good job of breaking down what we saw in the PvP clip, confirming a few details that I had pointed out in the last video, such as chaining special moves and jumps, speed being a vital component in battle, as well as, quote, dramatic reversals of fortune that come when somebody steps a little too close to a dangerous ledge. I love the idea of these combo moves. With so many weapon types, it'll provide such range when it comes to PvP. Of course, the main combat style on show was one of the fastest. We've already broken down how maces and swords work in a prior video, how they alter the way that your avatar fights, but now it's confirmed that yes, daggers do indeed enable the user to be quick and evasive. The weapon controls your playstyle, rather than a class dictating what weapons you can use. Let's just watch the clip uninterrupted in 1080p with the full array of sound effects. As you saw, the dagger-wielding player relies on dashing to evade damage rather than blocking. We have that leaping stab confirmed as a special attack, and of course dealing multiple attacks builds up the signature attack. We broke this down last time, and that's of course a flurry of slashes when it comes to the dagger. The mace player is slower, so needs to utilize heavy swings and footwork to cause the dagger wielder to fall or stumble. They emphasize once again that this is all work in progress, of course, and combat systems will continue to evolve until we get to a point closer to release. Either way, it's amazing to see the progress. Accompanied by this is an image of the Hytale community coordinator, Buddha standing idle in a cave. He's wielding his two daggers, but I also noticed this cape seemingly made from raven feathers. On top of that, he's dwelling within some sort of ruin that appears to be deep below the surface. Behind him, there's even some odd dragon-like plants which we've seen grow before by lava in deep caves. We then get to see a range of Zone 1 gorges as the sun sets. These formations really do feel natural to look at, and I also think that the render distance is being flexed a little bit here. The team goes on to express their love for all of the fan art they regularly receive, and really just want us to know that they understand our enthusiasm, that our creativity motivates them. Like every year, they wish us a happy holiday and mention that they would be back in touch when they have more to share, likely in another 6 months if I was to guess. For this section of the video, you've also been listening to their newly released soundtrack composed by Oscar Garvin called Into the Endless Sky, which played during the event and can also be found on the Hytale YouTube channel. Now I want to clarify some missed details and Easter eggs from the last few videos because we've had a lot to look over, quite frankly. I was bound to forget a thing or two. The mini games being displayed on those statues in that server shot of course have the same icons as the Hypixel website. In order, they are Bed Wars, Build Battle, Paintball, Walls, and Skywars. I also missed this tiny detail, a scarab or some kind of flying bug in the Zone 2 shot with the skeleton. Perhaps these really are scarab feeding grounds after all. In the blog post, we also got an extended version of that building video where we see a few extra details such as the blue shirt building some supporting beams, Scarf Guy placing a dummy and practicing his aim with a bow and arrow before following the green guy into the house and closing the large doors, which we get to see a nice animation of. Of course, there were tweets aplenty from members all around the team, and CEO Noxy even tweeted out his thanks for the support from everyone new and old who's following the game. Kweebecs have now officially been added to Riot's roster of characters. They got a little art piece grouped together with a bunch of iconic characters on this little banner. We will of course be discussing what this all means for Hytale going forward, as well as the big question as to why the game is taking so long in the first place in the next video, so make sure to look out for that one. If you weren't around last year, then you may not know that we like to celebrate Thankmas in the Hytale community, and this year is no different, with a full 8-hour live stream planned for December 11th starting at 6 PM GMT. Here's a sneak peek. Also partnered with the Hytale Info subreddit to host an art competition focused around Christmas in Orbis this December. The art piece with the most votes will win a gift card and even a unique rank, so make sure to check the link in the description to enter and check the details of the competition. You can keep up to date with everything Hytale related on my Discord and Twitter. Continue smiling, thank you for liking, subscribing, and thanks as always for watching Kweebec Corner. Stay safe and keep free.